you are a guy and you are a corporate worker somewhere in China, you not only had every Monday, you had every weekday because you just had your job. You have to repeat the "we are a family" slogan with your boss and write some positive feedback to your HR and act like you love your job because you are too poor to quit. Besides that, you are single as F, finding warmth only from your imaginary girlfriend when you are alone in your room at night. On one ordinary and boring day, you're trudging to your job and sipping your first cup of coffee to try and get through your day. Your social media's notification pops up. It shows that you have a new friend request. It's a girl, and she looks kind of cute. Despite thousands of years of human evolution, your instinct commands your mind to just accept it. That girl immediately messages you, and it feels like love is in the air. All that stupid looks your boss gives you do not matter anymore. After 1 month of online dating, you feel like she's the right one for you. Without further ado, you guys get down to business and talk about marriage. Well, she says she's really into you, but in order for you to show your sincerity, she asks for you to meet her in Bangkok. Out of a sudden, you become skeptical of this girl, but the power of love thwarted any skepticism. Oh look, she even brought you a ticket to Bangkok. So you think, well, this might be the girl. And you hop onto your flight on your way to Bangkok. Once you reach Bangkok International Airport, there is a car waiting for you to take you to your girl. After a long, sucky journey, your car arrived at some kind of a town by a riverbank right beside the Myanmar-Thai border called Myawaddy. By this time, you sense that something isn't right now. Congratulations, dude. You are now officially a piece of money-earning machine for some scam syndicate. What follows next is a series of nightmares. If you fail to meet your KPI, which usually is an amount of money that you have to scam in a period of time, you're dead meat. You'll get beaten up real hard. If you're lucky, you might recover from your wounds and become a good scammer. But if you ain't, you might die in Myanmar. Hey guys, welcome to the Peace and Conflict channel. Let us talk about the Myanmar scammer syndicate in this episode. We will cover the history of the scam industry that grew rapidly in Southeast Asia over the last few years. And we will talk about the recent military operation that has a significant impact on the scam industry and shaken Myanmar's military junta government. So, where does it all begin? It is widely believed that it all began with the online gambling industry all the way back to the 2010s. Before the scam industry, these syndicates were originally in the illegal online gambling business. These online gambling websites are often disguised as online gaming and sports betting websites. The money for online gambling can come from credit card, electronic check, certified check, money order, wire transfer, or cryptocurrencies. Normally, gamblers upload funds to the online gambling company, make bets, or play the games that it offers, and then cash out any winnings. Gamblers can often fund gambling accounts by credit card or debit card and cash out winnings directly back to the card. The main targets of online gambling operators are Chinese citizens in mainland China and some Taiwanese. According to Conventus law, as of 2023, mainland China has a population of 1.43 billion, and among that number of people, there are plenty of them who enjoy gambling. But ever since the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949, the Communist Party of China had effectively banned all forms of gambling. According to Article 303 of the Criminal Law of the People's Republic of China, it bans any forms of gambling anywhere within the internationally recognized borders of China, with the exception of Macau. The former Portuguese colony follows dual law, that from mainland China and existing laws from the colonial times. Brands like Las Vegas and the Venetian legally operate their casinos here. When it comes to online gambling, China's law subjects anyone gambling online the same punishments as those caught physically gambling. While China's law prohibited any online casino operator to set up their servers or bases in China, gamblers can still access gambling websites run by Chinese online casino operators abroad. Article 303 of China's criminal law stated very clearly that any Chinese citizens participating in gambling activities outside of China will be found guilty as well. An amendment was made to the gambling law in 2021, increasing penalties for offshore gambling. Even though China's government is trying hard to block these websites, the gamblers' urge to try their luck and their hunger to get rich fast give them the will to find a way to access those websites. Because as we all know, when there is a will, there is a way. Online gambling operators use mirror websites. These websites are identical clones of betting sites that are hosted on obscure web addresses to get around government blocks and the main URLs of gambling companies. Some are disguised as a simple monkey hunting online game. For example, the Bet365, a UK-based gambling firm. The mirror sites look exactly the same as the main Bet365 site, but have different IP addresses and URLs to bypass blockade by the Chinese government. Besides, while China is seeking ways to enforce harsher laws against Chinese gamblers participating in offshore gambling, its law does not mention any clear punishments against Chinese gambling operators operating abroad, which is why Chinese gangs found a way to evade Chinese authorities and continuing this lucrative business abroad. Cities like the Alabang City and the Makati City in the Philippines, Phnom Penh, Kandal, Pursat, Kokong, the infamous Priah Sihanouk and some other cities in Cambodia became bases for many illegal online gambling companies. In the Philippines, according to the Manila Standard, the online gambling industry in 2017 was the second largest demand driver for office space in the Philippines. In just the first 6 months of 2017, online gambling has taken up 83,960 square meters of office space, most of which are centered in areas like Alabang and Bonifacio Global City. That's about the size of 12 football fields, slowly establishing itself as one of the gambling capitals of Southeast Asia. It boasts more casinos than Macau. And in Cambodia, according to a 2019 Cambodia National Police report, there were 250,000 Chinese nationals working in Cambodia, including about 100,000 in Phnom Penh and Sihanoukville, allegedly working for or taking part in the online gambling industry. Since the major targets are of Chinese descent that need employees who speak fluent Mandarin, these companies would put up online hiring advertisements, offering lucrative wages and tempting opportunity to working abroad to hire Chinese programmers, software engineers, customer service, and employees for other roles. For example, in this job advertisement looking for electricians and construction workers, the text highlighted in yellow offers a monthly wage of $3,000. If the employee is required to work overtime, the pay could reach up to $4,800. Sounds great, right? What is even more tempting are the benefits provided, highlighted in green. The employer promised 4 subsidized meals a day, provided accommodation, year-end bonus, incentives, and its entry requirement is ridiculously low. You do not have to be an experienced worker to work here. That is the sole reason why in Malaysia, China, and Taiwan, many Mandarin speakers were lured into joining this sinister business. BBC Chinese had reported that these companies would require their employees working in the customer service to sweet-talk Chinese citizens into betting larger amount of money on their respective gambling websites in return for guaranteed prizes, which usually turns out to be a scam and resulting in the gamblers losing all of their money. The Chinese government has constantly urged Southeast Asian countries to stop the online gambling businesses as it causes a significant economic impact on the People's Republic of China. The Philippines and the Kingdom of Cambodia were at first reluctant to do so. This booming illegal online gambling industry actually brought economic growth to these countries. Since these overseas Chinese gambling businesses set up their bases in the Philippines and Cambodia, it brought in an influx of primarily Chinese and some Taiwanese citizens into both countries. Together with this influx of people of Chinese descent, as mentioned earlier, other than the booming gambling business, other businesses grew rapidly as well as the demand for Chinese-related needs increases. Businesses such as retail shops, that sell only Chinese goods. Restaurants offering a variety of Chinese dishes were set up around the online gambling centers. These huge investments by online gambling operators, retail shop operators, laundry shops, restaurants, and many more actually did promote economic growth in Cambodia and the Philippines. These businesses created job opportunity for the locals. In 2019 alone, the online gambling business in the Philippines brought a whopping 0.69% increment in its GDP. So, it seems like it is all good. Well, you're not wrong, but you're not quite right too. Behind the seemingly tempting benefits and salary, employees of these illegal online gambling businesses were constantly subjected to physical and psychological torture by their employers. They were forced to surrender their passports to their human resources executives. They have to meet their KPI or face harsh physical torture, sexual harassment, rape, and in some cases, murder. All of these gruesome things were often covered up or denied by local authorities to safeguard their own fortunes. Now, it doesn't sound like it's better than your boring regular 9-5, isn't it? So, the big question is that how did this seemingly entertaining industry evolve into a sinful scam industry? Well, surely you guys remember the COVID-19 pandemic that whacked the whole world real hard back in 2019. The COVID-19 pandemic, followed by the lockdown policies implemented by governments around the world, prevented more Chinese and Taiwanese citizens to join the online gambling workforce in the Philippines and Cambodia. Adding on to that, by the year 2020, the Chinese government took drastic measures to fight online gambling. They implemented a series of policies to limit, if not eliminate, the financial capabilities and communication capabilities of online casino operators and those working in the scam industry. Well, how did they do that? The Chinese government sought to stop the distribution of SIM cards and bank cards. Suspicious bank accounts with links to gambling operators and gamblers will be frozen. This action by the Chinese government caused significant impact on the online gambling industry. In 2020 alone, this action eliminated 15,000 groups of criminal syndicates, seized 3.733 million pieces of SIM cards, and 566,000 pieces of banking cards. The Chinese government also urged neighboring countries to take drastic measures against online gambling bases in their respective countries. On 19th of August 2019, the Prime Minister of Cambodia, His Excellency Lord Supreme Military Commander Hun Sen, issued a directive to end the issuing of online gambling licenses in Cambodia, saying the industry had been exploited by foreign criminals. The Cambodian government vowed to put an end to the country's gambling industry effectively starting on the 1st of January 2020. Ross Perrin, the Deputy Director General of the Finance Ministry's Financial Industry Department, said that as of 2019, there are 141 registered casinos operating in Cambodia. This number should decrease to either 94 or 95 casinos in 2020. Kang Perum, spokesman for the provincial administration, said the ban on online gambling should help improve security and prevent money laundering and other crimes in Cambodia. The Philippines government, on the other hand, increased taxation rate on gambling business, claiming that the government could generate 144 billion pesos or $3 billion of income by taxing online gambling operators. This policy significantly decreased the profits from gambling businesses in the country. In the subsequent years, some gambling operators eventually ended their businesses in the Philippines, but keep in mind that many are still operating even until today. For the first time since the rapid growth of online gambling in Asia, it seemed highly possible to root out the online gambling bases abroad that target Chinese citizens and cause massive capital outflow from China. The anti-gambling policies by the People's Republic of China, Cambodia, the Philippines, and Laos had immediate effect on the Chinese-run gambling businesses. 400,000 Chinese nationals left Cambodia after Hun Sen banned gambling in the country, without physical gamblers and other harsh measures implemented by the Chinese government. These overseas online gambling operators faced financial crisis. In order to sustain their livelihood, These operators then gradually transform their online gambling bases into scam bases, officially changing the online gambling industry into the more profitable scam industry. On the other hand, right after the transformation from online gambling to scamming, the Cambodian and Philippines governments, at some extent, acted against the scamming industry as well, causing a large number of scammer groups to relocate into the Cambodia, Myanmar, and China, Myanmar area, which are, to some extent, lawless. Under war-torn Myanmar, these scammer groups found sanctuary under the protection of local Myanmar rebel groups, some pro-junta militias, and in return, provided financial support for their protectors. In the beginning of 2021, the People's Republic of China attempted to root out the scam industry operated by Chinese nationals in Cambodia, Laos, the Philippines, and particularly Myanmar. These markers you see now are some of the well-known scamming bases in Myanmar. It would be easy to take them out if we can bring the C-130 Spectre gunship in. The Chinese government urged Chinese nationals living in the China-Myanmar border areas to return to China, or they and their family members will face harsh punishments. These punishments include the naturalization of Chinese citizenship, bank account freeze, their family members barred from receiving formal education, employment, and a whole lot of other stuffs. With regard to this harsh measure by the Chinese government, more than 54,000 individuals directly involved in the scam industry in the China-Myanmar border areas surrendered themselves and returned to China to face legal actions. A name list circulated online indicated that there are 140,000 Chinese nationals on the wanted list of the Chinese government. We have to admit that this action by the Chinese government was very, very effective. But this action did not cause the scam industry to collapse. Instead of relying on Chinese nationals for the workforce, the top management of this scam industry gradually shifted their focus to Malaysian Chinese and Taiwanese to fill in their ranks. Just in case you do not know, Malaysian Chinese generally have a flair for languages. Almost all Malaysian Chinese are fluent Mandarin speakers. A handful of Malays, Indians, and the indigenous people of Sabah and Sarawak can speak Mandarin too. Furthermore, due to the Malaysian government's national policies, which required every Malaysian citizen to be able to read, write, listen, and speak the country's national language, the Malay language, Malaysian Chinese are able to speak the Malay language as well. And due to Malaysia's past colonial era under the British Crown, English language proficiency in the country is relatively high. So, scamming Malaysians, particularly Malaysian Chinese, into the scam industry in Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar seemed legit. It's like killing two birds with one stone. Malaysian Chinese working in the scam industry will be able to carry out what I call the scam operation against targets in mainland China, Taiwan, Mandarin speakers all over the world, Malays, Chinese, Indians, and the indigenous people in Malaysia. Now, after telling you the advantages of hiring Malaysian Chinese to work in the scam industry, I have to say that the Chinese community in Malaysia does not favor scamming, and it certainly does not mean that Malaysian Chinese love to scam their fellow Malaysians of different races for wealth. Malaysian Chinese are generally well-mannered citizens, and their parents often educate their children to avoid taking part in any deceitful activities. But of course, there are a handful of useless people like these guys, showing no sign of gratitude after being rescued from Laos in January 2024.
Useless.
Malaysian Chinese working in the scam industry are all subjected to constant physical and mental torture by their employers. Many died, and some disappeared into thin air. These workers are all scammed into the job by online advertisements offering lucrative wages or simply kidnapped. Some notable cases, such as the cases of Xie Minrong and Wei Zhenfeng, where the former was kidnapped from Kuala Lumpur to Myanmar, and the latter was scammed to Myanmar to meet his online girlfriend from Thailand. The former has disappeared since then, while the latter was killed after torture and severe beating. There are also a handful of Malaysian Indians, Malays, and the indigenous people of Sabah and Sarawak scammed into the scam industry's workforce. So yeah, now you know where these scammers come from. I would like to wrap it up now. If you like this video or find the information useful, feel free to share it with your families and friends so that more people understand where did these scammers come from. Lastly, make sure to drop a comment down below, like it, and I will catch you in the next one.